You're listening to the UK Christian Hip Hop Podcast on
What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the UK Christian Hip Hop Podcast, and we are on episode 15. It's a good number, episode 15. And I'm here with DJ Cass C and Calvin Venus. What's going on?
Hi
Hello.
everyone.
Yeah. Okay. So we just want to have a bit of a discussion about something that was popped up recently. But before we get into that, which I think we'll leave that till later on, I just want to just throw some new music your way. If you've heard of anything lately in the grapevine, something you've come across through submissions or online that's been taking your ears, been like, yeah, man, that's a tune. Anything?
I'll start off then. One tickled my radar. See, KB is not usually my type of artist. I appreciate him. I appreciate what he says when I catch any of his songs. I don't know if you feel me when I say this, but KB makes me feel old in a sense that like his music is, and this is no disrespect, but it's so hype and there's so much going on. You have to listen to it a few times to catch some of the things that's going on. It's like there's so much musically that's going on. And funny enough, I'm working on a remix. So when I'm listening to it, I'm hearing like so much effort. Like this guy puts a lot down on wax. There's so much energy and so much passion. And so
Sorry, stop there. You said you're working on a remix. What?
I'm working on his remix, yeah. And so incidentally, I started listening to the original and I started listening to the album that just came out. I forgot the name. I was trying to scramble and find it before we went live. But
Hello, is he not on Reach Records though?
Yeah. No, yeah, this is the hold on, I'm actually working on Hold Me Back.
Hold Me Back. Was it a single?
Yeah, I think that came out as a single. Can't remember.
Yeah, what's it called? Sorry, would you say the word?
Hold Me Back.
Oh, so 1 minute. So doesn't Reach Records, don't they do it there? I'm confused now.
Probably, but I'm just doing a remix with a pretty much top producer over here called Impact. Impact actually works with a lot of Reach artists. Mainly, I think he's done like the old Lecrae track, which is cool because like we started teaming up regarding different things. So I'm sticking with the mixing and sometimes mastering, and he's just churning out all these beats. And so we're just formed a partnership, and sometimes we have a burger or two here in Houston. And yeah, he's a funny guy, man. So I love the guy all the same. But to the point, I was started listening to KB. And it's just interesting because like obviously like I grown up listening to like obviously Tribe Called Quest, Wu-Tang Clan, you know, where like, you know, it was a song, not so much a statement. You know what I mean? It's real. There's so much. I guess there was storytelling across an album rather than a song. Like I feel like, and this is why I like KB. All right, there's so much urgency when he performs. I've seen his performances; it's legendary. I've heard his performances and what he's done in different countries is legendary. He puts it, people walk out feeling that they just performed with him on stage, and that's a testament to his character and his attention to detail. And he's like one of the top performers in the US right now. And so, yeah, I just find it interesting, you know, watching his, like I've seen a couple of his podcasts, I've seen like a couple of his interviews, and then working with his song intimately, like on a remix, and then obviously listen to what he done in 2019, the previous release. And I really appreciate him as an artist. I still feel it's for people who just got attention deficit. There's so much going on. It's like, it's coming in your face, you know what I mean? But when you get to listen to it over and over again, because think about it, right? So what's going on? Like nowadays, music is mixed so loud. Every instrument is loud. You see what I mean? It's like the kick is going to go in your face. The snare's got to really literally slap you in the face. And that's how they want it now, right? No, nothing wrong with that. The subs, it's not bass guitar no more. It's sub. You know what I mean? So the lows are lower. The kick is punchier than it ever used to be. Whereas we're growing up with the little groove, you know, a little soul groove that was sampled in the track with some you know, nice strings and maybe like an old R&B vocal sometimes tuned up or whatever. You know what I mean? You think about like The Wire by Kanye West. You know what I mean? Think about what albums like Late Registration. It wasn't one, for as far as I remember, not one 808 on there and no subs. You see what I mean? And so like we come from that to this like in your face kind of, you know, and sometimes it feels like they're shouting because it's compressed so hard. But it's a start. It's not a complaint. And for me, you're gone.
But even as you was talking about the KB track, because I was listening to it today as well, Hold Me Back, and like I think that was one of my, again, you know, to some people are going to be like, yo, what? That's your first KB track? That's my first KB track.
Are you for real?
100%, man.
I relate to you, bro.
Like,
I really do, because like when I hear it, it's not for me.
Yeah, like when
you
you're saying Tribe Called Quest, I'm talking about Dead Prez. I'm talking about what's that guy's name? Everyone knows. Tyler Crowley. No, I was going to KRS-One. You know, that was man like me. I'll be used to listening to all that kind of stuff and whatnot back in the day. And so when I heard this, it's like I appreciate it. Like there's a point of me that goes, I listen to it and I'm like, I couldn't do that. But I respect that you can do it. If you know what, you know what I mean? Like it's like a workman who can do something that I cannot do. A skill. It's like, wow, it's really good. It's just not for me. You know, I have no.
I'm in shock.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, you know, again, I've seen him perform. I mean, electric is the word I'll use. Gospel.
So wait, you said you haven't listened to him, but you watch him perform though.
Yeah, Hello Mate Live. Yeah.
Oh yeah, okay, but you just never.
So I came like obviously like UK artists and whatnot, and then he was a headliner. So he was electric, gospel centric, passionate, all of those things. It's like, man, I can identify, you know, a professional artist there. I mean, like, you know, mainstream as mainstream can be, kind of thing. But I listened to the track today and I was like, when it changed, it was like I was listening to it, I was like, okay. I'm waiting for that chorus. Okay, that's a strange chorus. Cool. Then the whole track just flipped halfway through, and I was like, "Wait, we're on a different vibe now." Like, I was like, "Whoa!" And what's crazy? I listened to another Derek Minor track today. He released about 10 months ago. Anyway, I was just catching up, and I forgot what it was called. It was one way on Reflection Music, and literally he changed the beat halfway through, but it was still that whole, you know, it was just that the grooves, the melodies, the nice kicks. They're like, yeah, man, riding the beat. Instead of like stabbing the beat, it kind of riding. So yeah, I definitely feel you, bro, man. And that it's no, I like about KB as well. He's got, again, you're right, an urgency to like, let's get this in, let's go for this. Like it kind of it reminds me a bit of like a Governor B's kind of like, yo, he's never like sitting back or a feed him, never sitting back, kind of like, yo, got a little message to say, boom, 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 boom. It's like bang, bang, bang on the beat, like constant. And yeah, I think those kind of artists are for a certain time. Like for me, like say for instance, I want to be energetic. I want to be like, you know, I'm doing a workout, whatnot. Flick on some KB, like yeah, boom. But then I might go right, you know, for more of a laid back style. I may go for someone else. You know what I mean? But yeah, KB is interesting. I think he's extremely talented. And I would even go as far to our last podcast to say like, I can recognize anointing there as well.
Listen, as you said that, yeah.
Mentally, emotionally, and spiritually.
Yeah. You know what? I would recommend go and listen to Tomorrow. What's this album? Tomorrow we live. That one there. His songs in there. You do find I've worship in there because his songs are not just rap. There is worship in some of his songs. I do recommend listening to that one, Charles. Seriously, because
see, no, but Cass, I'm with you, but like it's so hard for me to be like, okay, there's something set in my mind now after listening to that track. Like, hey, I have a feeling that most of it is going to sound similar to that because
that's the thing, and that's the thing.
Actually, okay, so it's funny you should say that. All right, it's funny you should say that. Now we grown up with albums and singles. That's why.
Yeah.
So when you hear something, your mind is like, do I want an album? Like, we're going to buy it. Remember, like, nowadays, everyone listens to singles. I like that single, put it in my playlist. They just take what they want, like a pick me.
Yeah.
You get me? They just jump in and go, yeah.
Have you found your culture has changed? I'm talking about your personal culture with music. Have you found it changed with Spotify? Because I haven't changed. Like, as much as the streaming is whatnot, I still buy, download, like purchase.
Yeah, I still that. Yeah, I do. Okay. I do.
I have Spotify, iTunes, and Tidal because it's an occupational hazard. But Listening to music. Well, it is. I mean, because
Yeah.
you want to hear how.
I haven't
like,
got Tidal no more. I had the free trial and then that was it. Only did it.
I like Tidal because it's high res. Like it takes just a little bit longer to download. Like so you can't like, sometimes these long journeys that go on, I can't like listen to it at high fidelity because it's like the master, there's hi-fi, and I think that's it. There's 2 different levels depending on your connection to the internet, which I appreciate because obviously I'm a sound man. I like to hear things like I used to hear it in vinyl, right? And so I actually listen to music on Tidal. I tend to get a background vibe from playlists in Spotify because I think playlists in Spotify is much better. But for some reason, I prefer iTunes.
Yeah.
For like my own like collections.
Yeah. That
Sounds weird, right?
Yeah.
So I don't do playlists in Tidal, but I like listening to Tidal. I can listen to a full album. So when you used to pick up a vinyl and just place it, and then you just spin it, and then the only time you come back is when you need to go onto the B-side. That's how I treat it.
That's so true.
That's how I treat it. And then sometimes I might look at the liner notes because you get better liner notes in Tidal than any other form. I think iTunes is looking better now. So I could look into the engineers and the bass players and click on it and see what else they did. Like you used to with vinyl. So I actually treat Tidal like it's vinyl. And then Spotify, I treat it like everybody else. It's like, man, I just need a playlist that does just this one vibe.
But still, we can't beat albums. I mean, like album covers.
Can't beat albums. And that's what I was trying to say. When I listen to Christian hip hop now, I have a higher level of discernment because I expect a higher level of hip hop because of where I've come from musically. I want to hear dope rhymes and dope beats. I don't want to hear dope beats for the sake of dope rhymes. You know what I mean? Like, and funny enough, I was bowing out of DJing just when, it was getting to a point where the beats were taking over the rhymes.
Yeah. But we're still in a culture where
it's still like that. It's still like that.
I think it's really set in now. Like, it's like
kinda. You can still find it out there though.
But it's weird. Like I'll listen to I think I was listening to, is it Derek? No, D1 again. First time I've listened to him. I've seen him there, and I've never been. I just saw a track and I liked the title. The name of the title was "Do We Really Want Change" or something like that. I went to listen to it and I was like, "Oh my day, this guy's sick, man!" Like just bars in. I was just like, even. Sorry guys, sorry to chop and change. D1, definitely go and check him out. But Bizzle's track Response.
Yes. Yeah, Devil's Work. I know. See, for me, this is the thing. It's like
bang.
I think I listened to it like 20 times because I was like, you know what? Now that you can say is Christian hip hop. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
Because, maybe we can camp on this at this point because I think that's what was missing in Christian hip hop. Wasn't like, I'm not talking about beef tracks or response tracks, but just straight up countercultural response. Because clearly, what's his name? Joyner?
Yeah.
Lucas? Yeah. He, like, I've heard the original and then I heard Bizzle's and I heard his again. Like, we know what that guy was talking about because we exposed with that kind of strange, what I want to call hip-hop theology. Like, hip-hop theology has that, what does my homie die and turn to 45, 40 or whatever, and then pour it in the ground and pray and then cuss with the same mouth and then start living a certain life, right? And there was that kind of strange US hip-hop theology that went with it throughout his thing. But I kind of liked it because he was still asking of God, like, why? And then, and then kind of justifying at the end. But Bizzle didn't even have to touch that track, really. He like we know about that hip-hop theology. It's so widespread. It's like the common theology that most people, let's face it, they say America's 50% Christian. This is the reason why America's 50% Christian, because of that theology. People believe that good people go to heaven.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm a good person, so, or I kind of believe in Jesus. I'm not Muslim. You know what I mean? And just have this very strange dilute, but they don't believe the God in the Bible or the principles of the faith. You know what I mean? They don't persevere with the saints. There's no sense of sanctification in their life. You know what I mean? Or repentance for their actions. And therefore the love in Christ. And so, like, what Bizzle did is, very risky to answer as if God, but he went straight to Job, man. And I thought theologically, that's the best place to start. you know, to sort of go, this guy, you think you struggled, he struggled. That nailed him, because he can't respond now. He can't say himself against, and it's there. If he responded to that, it will show that he is not of the Bible, or he doesn't understand the Bible, doesn't understand where Bizzle is talking from. Where were you when I created the foundations of the earth? That's basically his response.
Or when he was like, what would you do if I gave you the chance to say when your mum would die? You know,
man.
Like,
hey,
I was like,
hey,
man. And you know what? It's just, there's something that was just so, of one, I love the beat. The beat was just forward driven. It reminded me of the hip hop that I enjoy a lot, but with a bit of the contemporary sounds you get today, not so trappy. And you know, the beat was forward. The beat was hitting as well and whatnot. And then with the actual content itself, I was blown. I was blown out. Again, rewind it. There's a free track to download as well, so downloaded that too.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm still to listen to it properly. I haven't actually sat there and analyzed any of it yet because I haven't had no time to. I'm being honest. I watched the you said, Joe, I watched the video and then I listened to some of Bizzle's and I thought, okay, I think I need time to come back to it. And I need the time to actually listen to it.
Do you know what, Cash? Yeah, like, do you know one thing I enjoyed incredibly about Bizzle's version is how lyrical it was, in depth.
Yes.
You know, it wasn't like I don't think there's a line on that song that was wasted in any capacity. It wasn't like a setup line for the next line. Everything was punching, and everything was like. And again, this is one thing I say to a lot of people when I speak to them, especially artists over here. I say to them, look, you don't realize how encouraging something that may seem to be evangelical or outreach can be for somebody who's in the body. Like, I listen to that and I'm encouraged. I'm like, yeah, like there's truths in there that he's reminded me of as somebody that's in the faith, that loves the Lord. And I'm like, so the same way he's outwardly focused, outreach, defending the faith, I'm in myself being encouraged by that and listen to that going, jeez, man, that's in my car, windows down, blaring up like, yo, boom. And there's no choruses. It was just bars all the way through.
But I mean, that's what I like about it. Because, I mean, let's face it, like nowadays, we're allowing popular culture to dictate how we make music now, which is kind of scary because we're growing up in a day where you couldn't bite on anyone's style. You couldn't have a beat that sounded like somebody else's beat. You couldn't rap the same way as somebody else. Nowadays, we have this kind of samenism going. It's like, oh man, my man's making paper, so I'm going to do that to make paper too. And so you have this diluted form. And so you mentioned about the beat. What's interesting is that you don't have so much theatrics getting in the way of hearing the lyrics. The most important instrument is the vocal. And when you have a beat that that's what I'm saying about having these beats nowadays that are so dope, it's like you could just listen to the instrumental and just do that. You know what I mean? And all they're doing is saying something for the sake of saying something. They just sound like another instrument. You get me? And again, yes, I don't want to criticize hip hop. Yes, it is sounding more superficial now in the mainstream. Like they're not really saying anything. When they are saying something, you're like, it's kind of hurtful for the community. You get me? It's a little damaging, a little foolish. You know what I mean? A little unwanted. Because let's face it, 75% of those who listen and download today's mainstream Christian hip hop is white. Do you really, really want our ills and our negative stereotype played out in such a fashion? No, I feel uncomfortable about it personally. And so when you have Bizzle, who I don't know if he was nudged to, we know he's built his career, or he certainly came to attention from the Jay-Z response. People say a Jay-Z diss track, but it was a Jay-Z response track to he's just, I forgot the song of the day, and then what he's built his whole career on. And let's face it, Bizzle was talking to the community at large because we held Jay-Z to a high regard. We basically, he calls himself Jehovah for a reason. You know what I mean? He just basically says, I'm the God of rap. Bizzle just kind of destroyed many. Like, I still meet people today who say, man, like, Bizzle led me to Jesus. Like, I wanted to find out more about God because he was so detailed and fired up, and I wanted to know and understand more about what he was saying. And so I can see how Christian hip hop can point to Christ, but it has to be done with Christ in the lyrics, in the context, in the response, in the vernacular, everything.
It was even like people would say about Soros. He had this fired passion for Jesus, and it was like, I am unapologetic in all aspects of the gospel, and I'm gonna say it every time I've got a beat, every time I've got a video in front of me, I'm gonna spit the gospel harshly. Well, again, not to everyone's delivery style, however harshly, and you would find the response, especially in kingdom culture, you hear the response of, oh, I really want it. Do you have this artist Soros? I need to want to find out about this person here, because this person is fired up for the Jesus that I want to know about. You know what I mean? It's like, I'm looking at that's this person and becoming extremely interested in the faith, because I'm like, what can make a man become so ablaze with ambition for God from a life of where they used to be and whatnot. And I really like that about
I don't want to look, let's face it, I don't want to hold it up. It was like the only way to evangelize through hip hop, because I mean, only some people are called to be strong like that. Like Stephen was stoned by being really strong. You know what I mean? He was unapologetic too. And so that may be for some people, but you had another guy in the wilderness who's content to be in the wilderness, being, you know, John the Baptist. And he was relentless, caring, and he dealt with the outside people as opposed to those who were inside, where Stephen went in and just challenged, you know. So sometimes you could be challenging with your hip hop. Sometimes, you know, you need to be content with the direction God has given you.
But at the same time, there's a lot of people who I think that calling is on their life to be a bit more bold with it. Because when you think about people who are, I say, the apologetics of Christian hip hop, there's not many. You know, when I think of people who challenge what's going on out there, I can't really think of too many about. And again, the only two main artists, one in the UK, which was Soros, of course, he's doing his reggae thing now, and Bizzle. Dayton as well I've gone back to listen to Dayton's first Turn It Off mixtape, which is just like, man, he's just bold and straightforward and just outspoken for the gospel. Again, it's not the only way to evangelize. There are many other ways, and I'm definitely not, like, you know, pigeonholing it into one area. However, there is something very contagious. You know, it's like boldness is contagious.
Is there anyone in Christian hip hop where you're like, especially UK Christian hip hop, where we're like, what happened to?
Yes.
I'm trying to think.
Do you know a guy called Warrior? My days. This guy was, oh, man. Like, I still listen to his music now, and I'm like, you know what, bro? Maybe
Dwayne Triumph. That's what I was like. When's he coming back?
But with Dwayne, I think with Dwayne is like, he released Sanctified, was it last year? So he's kind of still in the fringes of it. But like guy called Warrior, this guy was good. But I think there's another guy who used to rap with some SO called Serene.
Yeah, what happened to Serene?
Yeah, that's
Just
Serene.
And sometimes, you know what it is? Sometimes you turn up at some like concerts and whatnot, and you'll see these guys there, and they'll be like, "What's going on? What's going on?" But what, you're not spitting anymore. And they'll just be like, "Yeah, man, life and whatnot." They got that kind of same tone. You think, wow, like you just kind of gone under the waves.
Just life, innit? That's the truth. It's life, family life.
Or sometimes you think of like a Pressure J, yeah. Like, you know, it easily could have happened to him as well. Like once the baby comes, you get married. You start to see things through a different mind. Like, you know, like Pressure J's music, I'm not the biggest fan of it, the sound of it, because I've never been a fan of that kind of grime sound. But as you're growing and maturing in your life, you're married with children and whatnot, you start getting older. Does that resonate with the music? That's one thing I love about hip hop, not to digress, but the one thing I love about hip hop, no matter how old you get or how young you are, it can still relate. Like the drill sound, it's very contained to a certain age bracket. The trap sound, the same thing. But like, man, like I can imagine at 50, I could still listen to a banging hip hop track going, oof, beat, you know, and they've got that blend of old school and a new school all together. So, Serene for me. When I heard him, I heard a track with him on SO way back, and I thought, what happened to these guys? And I think it happens a lot. I think the expectations are not met. And I think when the expectations are not met, if your faith ain't firm, you kind of drift. Like one time, me and my cousin went to the beach, and we was about 14. We got in a dinghy, and our family was on the sand. So we got in a dinghy. We lay on our backs. So literally, our feet were in the water, but our bodies were inside of the dinghy. And literally, we were just lying there in the sun, and we were just like enjoying it, just talking. I think about 15 minutes later, a speedboat, one of the orange ones, the lifeguards came up and said, "Yo, guys, you are way too far out. You need to get back." So at the first point, since we left the shore, we actually sat up, and we were so far.
Oh my
people
gosh,
like
I can imagine if people
like,
would probably like this.
Imagine you had a picture of a seashore and you had a Sharpie pen and you just went boop, 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 boop. That's the size of people where we were. And we was in the sun.
You just were floating.
We were just floating. And the man in speech said, "You're too far out. You're too far out." And I never forget this point was like, okay, how do we get back? And literally, we kind of like done some kind of weird thing where like I think he held my legs while I put my arms out the boat and he's and we just
wait. So he was kicking and you were
I know
Like propellers.
So you can imagine a scene of us just going across the bay. It was
So
mad.
ain't the lifeguard supposed to bring you back?
Kinda, but he was kind of like saying like he came to us first and was like, "Look, guys, like you're too far out. You just get back." I think we were close enough to push it back, but we was far, very far. And I've never in my life thought that the current just took us out, Before you know it, we're just not near the shore anymore. And I feel like that's what happens with like Christian hip hop and UK Christian hip hop as well. Like I think people just life. This thing happens, a new job happens, and before you know it, so I'm not writing as much anymore. Then before you know, I'm not performing as much anymore. Before you know it, you just kind of stop.
Man.
Yeah.
Like I remember when Clips did Grinding, and I was like, this beat is so simple. It was like a loop, but I was like, why is this loop so contagious? And now like everything just sounds the same.
You're right. Like I'm not a huge fan, but I could identify a quality when it's like Pharrell Williams when he produced. Just like how can you make a beat so hollow, but so with so much substance? Was that one they done with Snoop Dogg?
Yeah.
This guy's put like 3 instruments together,
and it sounded like
I made it a single. What?
Man, listen, I believe Pharrell Williams extended the life of what's his name? Snoop Dogg, man.
Seriously.
Because he should have retired, man. Just like everybody else in his could have retired, but like we had Drop It Like It's Hot.
Yes.
By what, a 50-year-old? Come on,
how old was that now?
A 50-year-old is making everybody get down in the dance floor. How do we how do we get from originality and creativity to the same trap beat? How? And how are we gonna get out of that when everyone feels that that's the way to be? Like we don't even have any rhymes no more in some of these songs.
You know, I'll never forget. The album. I didn't listen to it because I refused to because I thought this is junk. Was Jay-Z and Kanye West Watch the Throne, and I heard Kanye West make a beat out of white noise, and I said to myself, "What is this?" Bro, I never forget. I remember I listened to Kanye West. Like I ain't gonna lie to you, one of my favorite albums from that guy was the one after Late Registration, or was it Late Registration? The one with I'm Good. That one with T-Pain on it before he went to the 808s and Heartbreak. That one before that one, I heard him listen to music, making music like that, and then 808s and Heartbreak came out, and I was like, "What is this?" And it was that same snap beat. I'm like, "What's this?" Like this ain't music, and I feel maybe I could be wrong. Please, if I'm wrong, tell me.
You think he kicked it off?
I believe so. 808s and Heartbreak, something changed, and obviously he was going through all that nonsense with his mom dying and whatnot, but something changed, and then you start hearing music after that was just so dark and so dry, with these repetitive tones and no gradients. Remember when Jay-Z had that with the trumpets, and he had like almost like I had a full orchestra playing.
Yeah.
And then they'll cut the beat back.
Yeah.
Like those, where did that go? That lasted for about a year or two, and then was on to these 808s that were just Honestly, man.
No, I actually, let me tell you something crazy. As you're talking about this, you know I'm a geek. Everybody know I'm a geek. I'm the resident geek here, right? When it comes to tech. So, you know the 808 and the 909? These were old machines, old tech that the studios threw away because it sounded unrealistic, right? So these were thrown out in like early 80s, right? These were the machines that they thought, oh, we can still do all our disco stuff. This is when these were going around, right? These were found in the secondhand stores.
Oh.
That's why it worked its way into hip hop. So we moved from samples and breaks, cutting them up, using a sampler, which was too expensive. And then we started using these 808s and stuff. But that was a fad that didn't even last that long. Now we have these computers with these hard drives and these samples we can get from anywhere. And we're kind of going back to something that's in the 80s, which was in these old machines. So I'm hoping and I'm thinking it's just a fad that will, because like nobody plays any instruments anymore. You know what I mean?
That's true.
When have you last heard a bass guitar on a hip hop track?
I know.
That is so true.
Listen,
Yeah, we used to have these sample like R&B stuff, and you were like, yeah, that's a groove. You know, like all of. Do you remember Warren G?
Yeah,
that
Warren
was
G. Yeah,
bass
yeah.
guitar, man.
Even,
Come on, man.
Yeah.
Listen, let me tell you about something today, bruv. Yeah, when you hear hip hop, yeah, played live,
Yeah,
mate, you fall in love with it again. You're like, oh my days. When you hear the bass playing and the drummer, and it sounds exactly like the track, and you're playing it live, and it's a beautiful thing, man.
yeah.
We need to
It is,
get,
but some of these young people have never heard it like that before, because they've never heard a live band
Honestly,
playing. They're not used to that sound.
Maybe I'm optimistic because I mean I know the Roots have changed their style. You know, now they're more like musical, very ethereal, very concept driven. You know, I mean, let's face it, they're in the 40s too. So that's got a shelf life. There isn't anybody else in that area, in that scope. And so my hope is that people get bored of a certain thing because it's been rammed down your throats. And then the big question mark to what's next will come. Because remember, Lil Jon kind of brought the synths, and it sounded like nightclub music, but just slowed down to R&B. What was that T.I. track where you had that sample that we heard from that old dance track that we used to shack to back in the day? It sounded like a rave song. I forgot the name of the track, but like you get what I'm trying to say.
Oh,
like,
yeah, I know. I think I know what you're about.
When I was like, I was an Aftermath fanatic. And when I found out about Dre, how he came up with his sound, that whole blending of hip hop, old school hip hop, and G-funk, and making that sound from there, and it shows you how these things can make their way into. Because when you think about Dr. Dre and his music, I mean, like to be, not to like send for anyone, because I don't believe I'm in that pedigree to send. However, my ears hear what my ears hear, and he didn't change a lot. He done a one track for, was it Sean Paul and someone blue? I forgot her name.
Oh yeah, it was Blue Cantrell.
Blue Cantrell. And then you hear the same one on Eminem's album. You're like, what? Wait, this is the dun, dun, dun. I'm like, wait, no. This guy ain't changed. Then you hear something with the guy died of cancer. I was on Ludacris' song. I got those. What's his name?
Oh, right.
Nate, someone, whoever.
Nate Dogg.
Nate Dogg. So you had the same consistency of whatnot, but you saw the migration of the sound and how it developed and how it built and how, and then you saw, 50 Cent.
He did it was the same thing. It was the same way.
But even so, but even then, you still had that funk. You still had that. There was a connection to what another genre that made hip hop that new arm of it. But when you listen to what it's now, it's like, oh, let's remove more melody. Let's remove more instruments. Let's triple up the hi-hats and just put a beat in there and a snap snare. Done. But where's the melody? Where's the bass? Where's the things that's made this genre what it's meant to be? But
it's an era. It's an era. I suppose
that's what I mean. We aren't knocking it because that's the thing. Like the reason why we have knock it is because we understand that this is creativity. And that's the way that the world wants it right now. But it's always like hip hop has always survived struggle and strife, not just in politically or geopolitically, but it's also musically as well. You know what I mean? And so I think things will will go through another, you know.
360.
I mean, look, I was listening to a soul track yesterday, and I couldn't believe that this was made in 2019. This song could have been made, this whole album could have been made in the 70s. And I was like, yeah, we can recreate anything now. Like, we could do anything now.
It was like the Jose Moore track, innit?
Yeah.
That tune. It's like, okay, cool, man. Like the sampling and whatnot. And even though it may not be as authentic as something in that time. However, in 2019, if we can do something like that, it's like there's a rapper, this UKCH artist called Capes. And if he can get the rap producer behind him,
He's off.
old school flow, but bars. It's just getting the right people in the right room together for things to happen. But I think as long as the history of it is there, I don't think it's gonna go in anytime soon. Which I'm glad, you know. So when you see things like this sort of trap movement and whatnot, which T.I. kind of like campaigned for, and then you see the dual movement, which, you know, different artists propelled and whatnot.
Oh gosh, have you heard the new thing Stephen Malcolm said? It's called Worsh Hip Hop. Okay, is that tumbleweed on that one as well?
No more, please.
Worsh Hip Hop.
Worship up, like.
Okay.
I mean, trying not to laugh.
I mean, let's hear it. I mean, I don't want to. It may be the best thing I've ever heard. Let me hear it. You know, and I just judge it on its merits. You know, honestly, if I'm brutally honest,
But it's worship hip hop. That's what I would say. That's what KB does. KB does
Yeah.
something like that.
If I was, I don't know, maybe 13, and we were doing a podcast, we would probably be saying this is the greatest time right now for, you know, Christian hip hop, and so like I'm very conscious of those kids, and like now I'm like, man, if I know what I know now, then would I just, you know, like really appreciate what we have or what we had or whatever, you know, like wherever we go, we progress to. Because
how do we make Christian hip hop original to itself? You know, because we're always waiting. I know, I'm not saying it's going to change or we should change. I'm just trying to say, is it possible for us to have something that's going, that's CHH, like, boom, like,
I think, I mean, look, you know, we know that music is seasonal, right? The sounds and all this kind of stuff. And Christ, you know, the Bible definitely calls us to be ready in and out of season. And that's for the case of the gospel, you know, because it's going to be needed in so many different ways. And I think I mentioned in earlier episodes that I remember the most profound thing that I heard when I was at home in London and in Ealing, to be exact. And then 9/11 happened. I remember the most common word that was said on CNN was, "Oh my God," because they kept showing clips of people that had no other words other than "Oh my God, oh my God." That's the only thing that they could. This massive tragedy. They're out on the streets of New York. They dust all over their face, and they were like, "Oh my God, oh my God," to anyone that would actually hear them talk. You know what I mean? And so that's profound. I think like when people naturally meet disaster or things that's confusing and frustrating, there is the question of oh my God, even from the agnostics. You know, people like say like, "Oh my goodness, like what else can come out of my mouth? Like, God, please explain. God, help me through all of this." And I feel that this is where we still have the avenue for the gospel, irrespective of hip hop or not. The gospel is needed, you know, in love. Like people are always looking for answers, and I felt like what was it Lucas Joyner?
Yeah.
What he said was a question that I guess a lot of people are asking. Like they were saying, why did Nipsey have to die and not Donald Trump? Which I thought was controversial, but it taps right into the black, you know, community at large. Like we are upset about politics. We're upset about you know, people getting shot for no reason. And, you know, he went deep into all these different people. But it was interesting how I loved how Bizzle responded, but that's how we ought to respond in all things. You know what I mean? And that's why I feel like if, you know, it's not down to the sound. I think a sound needs to meet the message anyway. You get me? I think today, like we're getting ahead of ourselves with music, and we're like, you know, we can shop for beats online now, and like, oh, I want a beat that sounds like, you know, it's even marketed sounds like, and then you end up rapping sounding like, and then so you try to put up something saying, hey, I am just as good as that person, go buy my record. You know what I mean? And the substance is just biting. And like when you have someone what Bizzle's doing, I love the fact it was a free download as well, because it's like, look, I want it to penetrate to where in the areas it's intended. And, you know, I think it will create some waves. I mean, I haven't heard anyone come up with a negative response, and I don't think he was trying to ride on the coattails of Mr. Joyner. But like, you know, we've got to real true originality comes from honesty with the truth, either personally or in the world. And so, how you feel you want to deliver that, we should deliver it in the most creative way possible that makes people listen. You know.
Solid. I fully agree with that. I think that's brilliant, and a great place to end it as well. I was gonna hold it. What's the response gonna be? No. That was a sound place to end it on, and really like to wrap it up for episode 15. So yeah, we're gonna leave it there. Thank you for joining us for Kingdom Culture UK CHH podcast. Any questions, please drop them below. If you're watching on YouTube, if you're listening to it via Apple, Spotify, Google, or the streaming platform that you desire, just drop a comment, send us an email, DM us, whatever it may be, and we're here to answer your questions, hopefully, and engage in good discussion. Until next time,
culture and a creative enthusiast, and you're listening to the UK Christian Hip Hop Podcast on Kingdom Culture.